The Storage Unit Surprise, Scottsdale, Arizona, a tale of turquoise and triumph. The desert sun was a white-hot coin pressed against the windshield of Rosa Martinez's 1998 Buick Century as she pulled into the U-Haul lot on Scottsdale Road. The temperature gauge read 112 degrees. Her hands, veined like the canyons outside Sedona, gripped the wheel with the calm of a woman who had just buried her last fuck to give. Rosa was 76. Her hair, once black as obsidian, was now a proud silver streak pulled into a low bun. She wore a linen blouse the color of desert sand and the turquoise squash blossom necklace that had started it all, the one her mother wore, the one her daughter, Carla, had called gaudy at Thanksgiving. She parked beside Unit 217, the 10 by 20 climate-controlled tomb where her children had banished her life 2 months ago. "Mom, it's just temporary," Carla had said, voice syrupy with fake concern. "We're renovating the guest room. You'll have more space when it's done." The guest room, the one Rosa had paid to add on to Carla's 4,500 square foot stucco palace in D.C. Ranch. The one with the ensuite bath and the view of the McDowell Mountains, the one Rosa never slept in because the kids needed for their VR setup. Rosa had smiled then, nodded, packed her things into banker's boxes labeled in Carla's neat architect's handwriting, "Mom, fragile. Mom, books. Mom, junk." Junk. She stepped out of her Buick. The asphalt radiated heat through her orthopedic sandals. From the trunk she pulled a folding camp chair, a bottle of Topo Chico, and a manila envelope thick with documents. She set the chair in the shade of the roll-up door, cracked the mineral water, and waited. By 9:03 a.m., the auctioneer arrived, a wiry man in a cowboy hat 2 sizes too big. Behind him, a dozen bidders, mostly men in Oakley sunglasses and cargo shorts, milled like vultures. "Unit 217, the auctioneer barked. "Furniture, boxes, some jewelry displays, no liens. Bidding starts at 200. Rosa raised her paddle, number 7. "250, a voice countered. She raised again. 3. 350.
500, Rosa said, calm as communion. The auctioneer blinked. 500 going once? 6, the Oakley man snapped. Rosa didn't flinch. 1,000. Silence. The desert wind rattled a loose chain-link fence. "Sold to the lady in the turquoise." The crowd dispersed. The auctioneer handed her the keys. "You got 10 minutes to clear the lock before the office charges storage." Rosa smiled. "Take your time, mijo. I own the place now." Inside Unit 217, the air was cool and stale. The overhead fluorescents buzzed like dying cicadas. Rosa stepped over the threshold and surveyed her life in cardboard. Her mother's cedar hope chest, the dinette set from her first apartment in Tucson, 1972. The framed photo of her late husband, Luis, in his Air Force uniform. Glass cracked, but his smile intact. And there in the corner, the glass display cases. The ones Carla and her brother Danny had borrowed for their pop-up boutique at the Scottsdale Fashion Square last spring. Rosa opened the first case. Empty. Second case? Empty. Third case. A single post-it. Sold on eBay. "Thanks, Mom." She laughed, a dry, papery sound that echoed off the corrugated walls. From her purse, she pulled a small notebook. Page after page of screenshots. eBay listings, Etsy, Poshmark, all under the handle Desert Rose Vintage, all featuring her jewelry. Item number 1, vintage Zuni Petty Point turquoise. Cuff, $1,200. Item number 2, Museum-quality Navajo squash blossom, $4,800. Item number 3, rare Sleeping Beauty turquoise ring, $875. Total sales, $42,350. Her jewelry, her inheritance, her mother's, her grandmother's, her great-grandmother's, sold without a word. Rosa closed the cases. She had work to do.
By noon, the U-Haul was loaded. The hope chest, the dinette, the photo of Louise, the empty display cases. She left the banker's boxes. Let Carla explain those to the next bidder. She drove to FedEx office on Shea Boulevard, made 47 color copies of every eBay receipt, every Venmo transaction from Desert Rose Vintage to Carla's account, every text message. Carla, Mom, can we borrow the turquoise necklace for the show, just for display? Of course, mija. Be careful with it. You won't even miss it. She stapled each packet with a cover letter on heavy cream stock. To whom it may concern, the following documents detail the unauthorized sale of my personal property by my children, Carla Martinez Thompson and Daniel Martinez. Total value, $42,350. I have reclaimed my remaining possessions and will be pursuing legal restitution. Consider this your cease and desist. Rosa Elena Martinez. One packet went to Carla, one to Danny, one to their spouses, one to the Scottsdale Police Department, one to the Arizona Republic, one to the HOA president of DC Ranch, and one, laminated, to the windshield of Carla's white Range Rover parked outside her Pilates studio. Phase 2 began at 3:17 p.m. Rosa drove to the storage facility on Hayden Road, Unit 44, the one Carla and her husband Brad rented for seasonal decor. Rosa had the spare key. Brad had given it to her in case of emergencies when they went to Cabo last year. She backed the U-Haul up to the door. Inside, Christmas decorations, Halloween inflatables, a Peloton still in the box, Brad's golf clubs, Titleist, custom-fitted, $3,200, Carla's wedding china, 12-place settings, Lennox, never used. She loaded it all. The Peloton took 2 trips. She left a single item, the cracked photo of Luis propped against the bare wall. On the back, in her elegant cursive, "You kept what wasn't yours. Now keep what is." She locked the unit, changed the code to 7629, Rosa's birthday, the one they forgot last year. Phase 3 was the telegram. She found the service online, singinggramsaz.com. Booked the deluxe package, Elvis impersonator, Christmas Eve, 7 p.m. sharp. The song was You're the Devil in Disguise. She wrote the lyrics herself. You sold Grandma's turquoise, thought she'd never know. Now your garage is empty and your hearts are cold. The code is 7629 if you want to see what it feels like to lose everything. Christmas Eve, 6:58 p.m. Carla's house glowed like a Thomas Kincaid painting. White lights on the saguaro, a 12-foot noble fir in the courtyard, 50 guests in ugly sweaters sipping spiked eggnog. Rosa sat in her Buick across the street, windows cracked, Sinatra on low. She wore the squash blossom necklace, the one listed for $4,800,
It caught the streetlight like liquid fire. At 7 o'clock exactly, Elvis pulled up in a pink Cadillac. Sequins, sideburns, the works. He rang the bell. Carla answered, confused. "Telegram for Carla Martinez Thompson." The music started. The guests gathered, phones out. Elvis crooned. The lyrics floated over the desert night. Carla's face went from confusion to recognition to horror. Brad dropped his eggnog. Danny, visiting from Denver, turned the color of spoiled milk. When Elvis hit the final note, "Merry Christmas, babies," he handed Carla the laminated packet and a single turquoise earring, the mate to the one she'd sold. He bowed, backed away. The Cadillac roared off. Silence. Then the screaming started. Rosa didn't wait for the fallout. She drove south on the 101, windows down, desert wind whipping her silver hair. At Mesa, she took the 60 east, then the 79 toward Florence. The radio played La Vie en Rose. She sang along in Spanish. By 10 p.m., she was in Santa Fe. The gallery was waiting, adobe storefront on Canyon Road, turquoise and triumph, opening in March. She'd hired a curator, a photographer, a lawyer who specialized in elder views. The jewelry was already en route, insured, cataloged, appraised at $1.2 million. The Hope chest sat in the back room, the dinette in the window, the photo of Luis on the mantel. January 3rd. The Arizona Republic ran the story. Scottsdale Hares accused of fleecing grandmother's $1.2 million jewelry collection. Police confirm investigation. Storage unit found emptied of family heirlooms and filled with Peloton, golf clubs, and wedding china. Carla called 47 times, left voicemails that escalated from tears to threats to bargaining. Danny sent a fruit basket. Rosa donated it to the senior center. The HOA sent a letter about neighborhood standards. Rosa framed it in the gallery bathroom. March 15th, opening night. The gallery was packed. Santa Fe Society in bolo ties and turquoise. A string quartet played Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Rosa wore a black velvet dress and the squash blossom. Every piece was labeled, quote, "Petite point cuff, recovered, not for sale," unquote. Squash blossom, recovered, not for sale. Ring, recovered, not for sale. In the corner, a video loop, the eBay listings, the Venmo receipts, the singing telegram, subtitled, "The Cost of Betrayal." At 8 p.m., the doorbell chimed. Carla and Danny stood on the threshold. Carla in a designer coat, eyes red. Danny clutching a manila envelope. "Mom," Carla whispered, "can we talk?" Rosa smiled, the same smile she'd given them on Christmas Eve. Gallery closes at 9. Admission is $25. Cash only. She turned back to her guests. The quartet swelled. Someone bought the dinette set for $12,000. Carla and Danny stood frozen as the door closed behind them. Epilogue. 1 year later. Rosa's gallery was written up in Vogue. She'd started a foundation, the Rosa Fund. Grants for elder artists, scholarships for native jewelers, a residency in the adobe house she bought with the Peloton money. Every December 24th, she hosted a party, tamales, champurrado, a piñata shaped like a storage unit. The invitation read, "Bring your own chair. Leave your entitlement at the door. She never heard from Carla or Danny again, but on her 77th birthday, a package arrived. No return address. Inside, the cracked photo of Louise, repaired, and a single line in Carla's handwriting. We kept what is ours. The rest was never yours to take. Rosa hung the photo above the register. She wore the squash blossom every day, and every night she locked the gallery, set the alarm, and walked out into the high desert air, free, fierce, and finally fully herself.